Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now it's always nice to see the inclusion of upscaling techniques such as DLSS, FSR and Intel Xe-SS in modern games. I find these options particularly helpful for squeezing the most out of older and weaker graphics cards. Take Cyberpunk 2077 here as an example. The Radeon RX 550 can't run it very well at native 1080p, but by enabling FSR 2.1 from the options menu, we can hit at least 30 FPS, and the visual sacrifice isn't as significant as dropping to say 720p outright. It's still not perfect, but it is nice to have this option. What I don't want to see, however, is FSR implemented by developers purely as a replacement for good optimization. I can't help but think that there are and will continue to be some examples of this already, but ultimately I'm grateful for upscaling methods regardless, and so are a lot of budget PC gamers, I'm sure. A recent title I've been enjoying is Dead Space 2023. This remake of the classic horror game is really great in my opinion, and I've certainly had a few scares. Doesn't help that I've been playing mostly in the evenings with the lights turned down low. You might find this surprising, but I've never played the original game, so everything I've experienced so far has been for the first time, and that includes having nothing to compare it to in terms of performance. This certainly doesn't play nice with my low-end RX 550, and I don't know if this is a nod to the original game or just because the engine supports it, we can actually play this at 640 by 480 resolution, as you can see here. Now we've covered 480p gaming before on the channel when I ran Microsoft Flight Simulator. Some of you were actually quite surprised at how good that looked. Me as well, to be honest. The low resolution doesn't really complement this game in the same way, but something about this pixelated mess in combination with the dimly lit narrow corridors does add a layer of suspense and uncertainty. Everything is harder to make out, and the necromorphs that hide in the shadows are suddenly impossible to spot. As for the frame rate, there are still some issues with this low-end graphics card. This is the 4GB 550, so we do have extra VRAM to play with, but that can only do so much. My Dead Space experience averaged out at 38 FPS, but perhaps the most horrifying thing about the whole ordeal was those percentile lows. Truly a spooky time indeed. But we can do something about this. Oh yes, of course at this point I'd already suggest just playing the original game instead if you have older or weaker hardware, because it will run a lot better, but in the spirit of destroying the graphics, it's time to really go all out. Dead Space 2023 not only supports 480p, but it also has FSR 2 support. We can choose between quality, balanced performance and ultra performance. Ultra performance, the lowest of these options, will effectively render the game at 33% of native before upscaling it. On a 480p display, that's like, what, 211 by 158, call it 160p, I guess. I mean, this is definitely not as sharp as native, but because of the upscaling, it does look better than it otherwise would, and it boosts the frame rate too, as well as the percentile lows. It's actually quite funny that 60 FPS is still not achievable, even at this super low resolution with the lowest settings. But as far as smoothing out the gameplay goes, I finally found a way to get my 550 running Dead Space with acceptable performance metrics. There aren't many games that will let you do this. Sure, there are a handful of 480p titles, but 480p and FSR together, that's a rare and perhaps unwelcome combination. It's definitely amusing to mess around with, don't get me wrong, and if you are incredibly desperate to experience a game on low-end hardware, I mean, you've got to do what you've got to do, but there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a filler video until tomorrow. We'll probably be taking a look at Atomic Heart, running it on some low-end hardware, so I'll see you all then. But if you enjoyed this one, leave a like on it, leave a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see all of you in the next one.